this is how long we've been talking about this stuff. I just wanted you to see this as an example of how long we have been talking about this stuff in this country, right? So this is 1944. This is 76 years ago, okay? So 76 years ago, this is our president, the president of the United States, a sitting president, 76 years ago, saying what he believes we need a new second economic bill of rights. So he's proposing a second bill of rights, and listen to the things that he says that we should have as guaranteed as a human right 76 years ago. And just think about 76 years later, how much of this do we have? 76 years later, after a sitting president, the most popular president in the history of the United States, reelected to the presidency 4 times, the reason that they invented the term limits, okay? Listen to what he says here, and just think about this in context of what we have today. This is Frederick Delano Roosevelt in 1944, State of the Union Address.
In our day, certain economic proofs have become accepted as self-evident. A second Bill of Rights, under which a new basis of security and prosperity can be established for all, regardless of station or race or creed. Among these are the right to a useful and remunerative job, the right to earn enough to provide adequate food and clothing and recreation, the right of every farmer to raise and sell his products at a return which will give him and his family a decent living, the right of every businessman, large and small, to trade in an atmosphere of freedom, freedom from unfair competition and domination by monopolies at home or abroad, the right of every family to a decent home, the right to adequate medical care and the opportunity to achieve and enjoy good health, the right to adequate protection from the economic fears of old age, sickness, accident, and unemployment, the right to a good education. All of these rights spell security. And after this war is won, we must be prepared to move forward in the implementation of these rights to new goals of human happiness and well-being. For unless there is security here at home, there cannot be lasting peace in the world.
All right, everyone. That was your former president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, speaking there in 1944. That was the State of the Union address from 1944. And in case you didn't catch that, let me just run through the list of the Bill of Rights that he proposed, the Economic Bill of Rights. He said, everyone, regardless of station, race, or creed. So he's saying regardless of class, race, station, deserves these rights. A dignified job with a living wage. Okay. He said enough, not just enough to earn to survive, he says, but for adequate recreation. Okay. So he's saying you should make enough money so that you can have enough. You don't just have a right to a dignified job with a living wage, but you have a right to a dignified job with a living wage that provides you enough recreational time for yourself, enough leisure time to, to vacation. Okay. So he's already saying, mandating, vacation time in there. He says the right for businesses, he said this was the one business right that he put in there. And it was businesses to be free from unfair competition and domination, by monopolies. Now look at places like Amazon, Walmart, Facebook. Like, look at these massive monopolies that we have nowadays. Just keep those in mind, and how they dominate, like, say, the public square, right? Like Twitter and Facebook control what we used to call the public square, where it's just like where you go to speak and communicate to other people. And so he said every person has the right to a home, So housing is a human right, healthcare and good health, he said. So healthcare as a human right. So he's talking about universal healthcare right there, saying the government needs to provide this stuff. Be clear. He said the government, it is the responsibility of a government to provide these things to every citizen, regardless of station, race, or creed. Okay. So he says the right to a safe and healthy retirement, free of sickness, and a decent retirement, right? So he says everyone has the right to a good retirement, to be free from unemployment. So he says they have a right, a dignified job is a human right. People should not be unemployed. I'm unemployed right now. The right to a good education. So he's talking, free public education he's talking about right there. And he says that, until these things, until we have, I forget the exact quote that he said there, but it's like, until we have, security at home, we will not have lasting peace abroad. So all this idea of participating in these foreign wars while ignoring all the ills of the people here at home is where we still are. And so this is 76 years ago here. So we're talking about 76 years ago, and we got a president that is saying that all these things should exist. And look where we are 76 years later. These ideas are not new ideas. We've been fighting for a long time for universal health care and free public education, housing as a human right, federal jobs guarantee. Like, we've been fighting for decades and decades for this stuff, and it's still not here. So we can't act like the next one we vote in, or if we just wait 4 more years and then the next person we vote in, they're going to do it, right? Or like 10 or 12 years from now, oh, that person will be the president. No, we can't keep sitting around and waiting for these capitalists to save us from capitalism. They're not going to do it. We got to do it ourselves. We got to go outside of the bounds of capitalism. And the way that you do that is by building and supporting democratic workplaces. You can support this one right here, right now. You can do that. You can participate in that. You can participate in that kind of revolution by going to our Patreon, patreon.com/radical democracy, and donating as little as $1 a month. You can support an actual movement to build democracy, to build a truly democratic society where we could finally gain the power that we need to implement these things and to have lasting peace, to have this lasting peace. Because a lot of these reforms that we make, if we make these reforms, like Richard Wolff warned us, he said, whatever we do, whatever reforms we do, if we leave capitalists in place and in power, they will just slowly but surely undo those reforms. So we cannot leave them in power. And the only way to take them out of power is by building democratic workplaces. And you can support that here at Radical Democracy and the Radical Democracy Show. We are developing this as a democratic organization, a democratic workplace, a democratic worker cooperative. So please contribute today if you can afford it. I need you to do it now. Just head over, and we are trying to get to 10 Patreon patrons by the end of the month here. We need a lot more than that because we got to start to pick up our pace. Hopefully we can get that a lot sooner so that we can bump that goal up, because we're gonna need to make a lot more progress a lot faster if we want to keep this thing going strong. Otherwise, once unemployment runs out, this is brought to you by unemployment right now. Okay, like if I wasn't on unemployment, if I didn't have some small savings through the federal pandemic unemployment compensation that can hold me over, and I wasn't on unemployment right now, I would not be able to do the show. I'm not housing secure. I need to, I would need to be I would have to be working right now. I'm a software engineer by profession. I'd have to have a job, and I need to I need to be doing that, and I couldn't be doing this. So not in the same capacity, that's for sure. So we've got about another 4 to 6 months probably of being able to do this before we'll need to pick up enough support. It doesn't mean that it's going to end after 6 months. It means that we just have to get enough support together in the next 6 months in order to keep this thing going. So over the next 6 months, we're going to have to grow very big, I don't know what the number will have to be, but it's probably going to be around like $1,000 a month. If I can hit $1,000 a month within 6 months, then probably I can survive off of $1,000 a month. And then really we need to get it up to like, and then there will be some slowdown in the content because, you know, Tammy just won't be able to do the same amount of work if she has to be working a full-time job and stuff. And so, but we could get Tammy on as our full-time producer for, you know, we'll have to see, you know, we'll probably need at least, it's going to be at least another 1,000 a month, but probably more than that, but at least 1,000 a month, you know, preferably like 2 per person, honestly, with all the taxes and such. So try to be transparent with you. We'll try to let you, you know, keep you informed on that. You can also drop us a tip, one-time tip at ko-fi.com, ko-fi.com/radical democracy. So please head over there. We've got a fundraiser going at Coffee right now for a new mic for Tammy so we can just improve the show, constantly improve the show. That's our goal for you and bring you better content. So we would like to give voice to our producer and bring in the voice of a woman on the show. We you know, too much of me, you know, can become monotonous. So we want to bring in some different voices and different representation, of course. And so, yeah, let's do that. And so if you can't donate right now, I totally understand, but please do me one favor then and like, subscribe, and share this video out and just help us to grow, helps the channel to grow. So that is deeply appreciated.